Thank you again for being here tonight. And we're going to be doing some training on life groups for Connect, Grow, Go. And I just want to direct your attention as we begin to the last packet that you picked out. It's got this kind of cover to it. If you open this up to the first page, you will have a sheet of paper here that has life group training session for fall 2009. What is a disciple? Connect, Grow, Go, life groups, etc. This is a note page for you to take notes as we go through. And so you'll probably want to keep that open as we go through. What is a disciple? What are life groups? And what do life group leaders do? Because that's the bulk of what we're doing here tonight, is talking through these things. What we're going to do is we're going to try to get us out of here by 8:30, and so we want to handle your time really well and try to invest into your time right now as much as we can to help you with your life group starting here in a few weeks. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to start big picture, a summary of what Connect, Grow, Go is, and then we're going to get a little bit more detailed. Take some questions and then get big picture again. Okay, so big picture, detail, questions, big picture. All right, so that's where we're going here tonight. All right. So first, I just want to begin by looking at Matthew 28. Okay. There we go. Okay. Matthew 28. These are the last words of Jesus. A section of Scripture. The last words of Jesus before he ascends into heaven that he gives to his disciples. If you've been around Awana for long enough, you should have these memorized just by listening to other kids talk about them, right? But this is Jesus saying, "Go therefore and make disciples of all nations." No doubt if you've been around here for some time, you know what this is. You have it memorized. You probably have tried to forget it at times because it's a little bit convicting. But what we want to do is say that there is a definition for disciple that the Bible gives that is all over the place in Scripture, and we have worked really hard as elders in trying to condense it down to not a simple formula, but to 3 words, 3 concepts that the Bible is all over the place talking about. Okay? And so that we know what we're about in making disciples, because we exist, because Jesus says, go make disciples. We exist at Faith Community to make more and better disciples of Jesus Christ. Okay, that's why we exist. That's why we're here, for His glory. And so what we have to ask then is, what is a disciple? And the elders have worked through this, and what is a disciple? That's what we're going to talk about, and that's what Connect, Grow, Go is. Connect, Grow, Go is a way of talking about how the Bible describes discipleship. Now, it's going to be a nice, neat little slogans and little descriptions here, but we all know that if we're a follower of Jesus, becoming a disciple and learning more and more to be a disciple is wonderfully complex and messy and painful and encouraging and joy-filled all at the same time. Okay, but we've tried to condense, so that we know what we're about, tried to condense the Bible's teaching on what a disciple is, and that's what Connect, Grow, Go is. Okay? The series that we're going into, that you'll be leading life groups in, is going to be unpacking what it is to be a disciple. We're going to be unpacking the elements of what it means to be a disciple. Okay? So, what is a disciple? A disciple is someone who has connected with God. Okay? Disciple is a connection with God. And one of the logos that we are using, the icons we're using to represent this, is the heart. And we're putting emphasis on the heart because the Bible puts emphasis on the heart. We can have all kinds of head knowledge about who God is and still not be a disciple. Okay? Jesus, on the road to Emmaus, as he was talking with 2 disciples who did not recognize him, opened up the Scriptures to them and taught them about everything that needed to happen with him from the Scriptures, about his life, death, and resurrection. Later on, when these disciples realized that they were talking with Jesus on the road, they looked back and they remembered, as he opened up the Scriptures, did not our hearts burn within us? Okay? And what we want to emphasize is what the Scriptures emphasize, is that we don't know God. We haven't connected with God unless our hearts burn for Jesus. Okay? Unless our hearts burn for Jesus. this is also important as we go out on mission, which is the last aspect of being a disciple, is that there are a lot of people in the St. Croix Valley who, if you were to ask them, do you know God? They would say, yes, I do. Do you believe in God? Yes, I do. But it doesn't transform their life. He doesn't transform their life. But if you were to ask them another question, do you have any passion for Jesus? Do you have any love for Jesus? Does your heart ever burn within you for Him? It changes the discussion. What are you talking about? I believe in Him. But that sounds really too radical. That's for really extreme people. No, it's not. A disciple is someone whose heart burns within them for Jesus. Okay? It's one of the emphases that we have is that we would have a passion, a love, and awe for this Jesus in whose image we are made, who came, lived, died, was raised, and right now is at the right hand of the Father interceding for us, that we would have awe for Him, love for Him, passion for Him. Okay? So one of the questions that we are going to be pushed on too as life group leaders is this true of us? Is this true of us? Do we have a passion for this Jesus? Do we have a love for this Jesus? This is the first element of becoming a disciple. You're not a disciple. You don't begin discipleship with Jesus until this happens to you. Okay? This is the first step. This is the entry point into discipleship. Okay? The next area or aspect of being a disciple is that we grow into Christ. That we're going to look like Jesus. And we're going to look like Jesus in how we love God, love neighbor, and love enemy. We're going to look like Jesus in how we love God, love neighbor, and love enemy. The icon that we're using to represent this is a fingerprint. And the image that we're trying to portray here and capture about Scripture is that maturity and growing in discipleship. And how do you know you're a disciple? Is because you look like Him. You're identified with Him. You're identified with Him. And the fingerprint would be, I don't want to use this illustration too early, but I just like it so much. You ever seen one of those CSI shows, right? They go into a crime scene, they dust for fingerprints, So, this is the hope. That as we grow into Christ, when we touch things, when we go into a room and we handle things and we touch things, if someone from CSI would come through and dust for fingerprints, they would be able to identify Jesus' fingerprints in ours. That's what we're going after. That we would look like Jesus. That's what maturity is. Jesus says, come to me, all you who are heavy burdened, and learn from me. I will give you rest. Learn from me.